Well, it is Thursday, September 10th, 2020. Just got off the dock in Sheboygan, G31. Gonna go out and play on a lumpy lake again today. Still got a few geysers spouting on the breakwater out there, not nearly as bad as it was. We're gonna have following seas and got traffic. Another classic coming off the dock over here. Salty looking boat. He was berthed next to us in Manitowoc 3 nights ago. He was still there when we left. He turned up here yesterday. And he's heading south today too. So, just clearing the breakwater in Sheboygan. About to rock and roll a little bit. Got a little sail on her. Single reef in the main today. I'm going to start out there. Probably should have done a double reef. Right?
You know the weather better than me.
Well, I looked at the weather. I don't know the weather. It doesn't do anything I ask it to do, so. But looks like roughly 15 knots of wind all the way down to Port Washington. We're going to be running largely before it, so I think we'll be okay with a single reef. I'm going to wait on a jib or a head sail, staysail. Once we get turned more direct to Port Washington, we'll see what we get before I mess around with that. Water bottles are going everywhere. And our slip mate out here is, looks like he's single-handing it. So he's probably got his hands full trying to get some sail on her right now. And I'd be surprised if he wasn't headed for Port Washington today too. We haven't spoken to him. I don't know who he is. He turned up in Manitowoc the other night. Well, he was there when we got back from dinner. Looked like he was drying out his sails and everything. And we left Manitowoc 2 mornings ago. He was still there, and he arrived here yesterday. So last evening while we were at dinner.
Yes.
No, actually, I think we were napping. So, anyway, enough of that. Yep, should be a fun ride down to Port Washington today. Another short leg and then a short trip. No crossings this trip, I don't think, unless something happens. Like this year, this trip is all screwed up. Got our friend up ahead here. We've been kind of sailing neck and neck. He was further inshore. We went a ways out into the lake to get around the point out there south of Sheboygan. And I'm thinking now he's probably not headed for Port Washington. We're about to cross his wake here. So after we rounded the point, we made our turn direct for Port Washington, and our courses started to converge. So, it looks like we're going to be sailing with him for, looks like the next 3 hours until we get to Port Washington. And our courses will begin to diverge, I'm sure. So a little better view of him from this side, silhouetted against that gray, gloomy horizon out there, which I'm pretty sure is headed our way. because not only are we going to have the wind astern, roly-poly seas, we ought to be soaking wet too, don't you think?
Par for the course.
Yep. Still a little lumpy out here. Expected nothing otherwise. So it looks like 3 legs on this trip, no crossings. We got the boat in the water earlier than we expected, a day earlier, but the forecast was always bad. Either no wind or contrary winds. Gale one day, which never really transpired. It's at least where we were at, I think it got pretty rough on the south end of the lake because the rollers were pretty big, but we never experienced the wind up where we were at. And the next day was supposed to be almost as bad. It was no, I mean, it was a nice day. Everybody was out day sailing and everything, so didn't go anywhere that day. And then the day we finally took off, of course, was pretty crappy. Worse than today. So anyway, we're headed down to Port Washington. We've already been there. We didn't get to go anywhere we haven't been yet on this whole either trip this year. So in fact, we're in Sheboygan twice this year. We haven't been to Port Washington in 3 years. It'll be nice to get back down there, but the winds are going to favor getting back up the lake on Saturday.
In the rain.
In the rain. It's going to be another rainy day, but I think we're just going to head back up to Manitowoc, and unless something dramatic happens and cut our trip short this year. What do you say about that, hun?
It is what it is.
Want to take the camera?
Hold on, I'm gonna get my fingers.
No, you don't have to. I just thought maybe you'd want to get a shot of something. Not me.
Why not you?
Because.
I think you're pretty darn cute.
You do?
I do.
That's not going on YouTube, you know.
So, par for the course, we've had some pretty good motion, and turn the camera on and Sue's go. I better close the hatch and start to sprinkle.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're just about 11 miles from Port Washington. Be there in a couple hours. And been really consistent in direction and velocity, but the rollers seem to be intensifying. They're getting larger and more frequent, and it's making for an extra lumpy ride. We've been rocking and rolling quite a bit. Of course, now that I turn the camera on, it subsides.
Of course.
If we just left the camera on, there would be nothing to see. Anyway, I'm not complaining. It's just makes steering a lot of work since we don't have an autopilot on this thing. I think an autopilot would struggle with that too. And it's raining. We're wet. Just kind of dampens the spirit a little bit. But we're having fun, right?
Yes.
Say hey, Michi.
Hey.
Whatever. And probably invisible on this, our buddy is still out there, oh, maybe a third of a mile away. Still, for the most part, neck and neck. He's pulling out in front of us just a little bit. Don't know where he's headed, but I'm pretty sure now it's not Port Washington. So we're just outside of the breakwater in Port Washington. Actually, we were able to sail out of the breakwater in Sheboygan this morning, sailing into the breakwater in Port Washington. I almost said Pentwater. I am senile. I think this is the first leg of any trip we've ever taken on Lake Michigan where we were able to sail out and into the breakwater, uninterrupted sailing all day today. Sweet. Woohoo! So got the engine warmed up. Once we get inside, turn her into the wind, drop the sail, and head to the dock. And it's off for a beer somewhere. So it is Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. The next day. What a night last night. About 3:30 I was awakened to the absolute howling winds. Got up, actually went out on deck 3 different times, walked around the dock, made sure all the dock lines were okay, nothing was chafing. A little worried there for a little while. Had to re-secure some of the rigging that was starting to flag a little bit. Or flog. Flat. Been one of the F words. Hey, Michi! So we're thinking about heading to Port Washington tomorrow. This is supposed to let up. Oh, I missed it. Keep this on here. Some pretty impressive spouts out there. It's not a lot windier, but a little windier now than I think it was yesterday when we got in and thereafter. Sure would have been neat to see this last night. Oh, but the waves are really smacking the seawall here. Breakwater. Yeah, you see spray is just flying out across there every now and then. That wasn't happening yesterday. Everything is just kind of going up and then just coming back down again. Pretty impressive.